everyone. Welcome to Who Knows. This is our podcast about whatever is on our minds. And today we're going to talk about being an only child.
Yeah.
Yay. You guys probably didn't know, but me, Sumin and Shashuda are both only children. So we're going to talk about what being an only child is like. So I think most commonly, I know we're both not, but people assume that if you're an only child, like if people say are you an only child? Do you think it's good?
Most of the time I feel like there is like a negative connotation to it, like the being an only child. I think people normally associate it with being like spoiled or selfish or annoying or bratty. Even though like you could be none of those things, because I don't think either of us are any of those things. So I think people just kind of associate only children with those things. But yeah, that's what I think. I think you said you agreed too, so
Yes, I think it's never good if people ask or assume if you're an only child, regardless of where you are. So, have people asked if you're an only child?
I think it normally comes up in social settings, mostly from like older adults, like family friends, or like if we're in a setting where there's like adults, normally they're the ones to ask. I feel like most of the time, they're like, "Oh, like, do you have any siblings?" And then normally I'm like, "No, I don't have siblings. I'm an only child." I feel like that's when I get asked the question the most. Other than that, I don't think people like friends, like if you're meeting someone new, that's normally not what comes up first. So I don't think that's a question that's really asked amongst like friends. What about you?
I think here people tend to ask more, and even if it's not here, it has always come up when I'm with friends, like even when I'm getting to know new friends, people will ask me like, "Do you have any siblings?" And I'm like, "No." And I've had a person say to me, "Weird," like right away when I said I was an only child.
That's so bizarre. Because I know I have like I think I have one other friend that's an only child. So it's not like it's not uncommon, but like, yeah, I don't know. That's a weird thing to say.
This was in America. I don't think people in Korea will say weird straight to your face. And being an only child is relatively more common here, maybe because the birth rate is declining. But I think I've seen way less people there without any siblings. Should we talk about our experiences as an only child, like stuff we liked first? I think the biggest positive thing that you can have as being an only child is that you get all of the economic support from your parents. And this is both good and bad, but you also get all of the attention from your parents.
I
So I definitely got economic support from my parents that I wouldn't have been able to got if I had siblings.
Another positive thing, at least, this also differs by like depending on where you live. But for me, obviously, like I didn't have to share a room, so that was a positive thing. Like I had my own space to do the things I wanted to do. Like obviously, having my own room is a plus, but also like having my own bathroom and like being able to just have my space for myself, that was always, I feel like a positive thing. And even like random things, like I get to just listen to music when I shower, like whenever, like that's not an issue. Like I don't have a sibling being like, turn that shit down. Like, you know what I mean? So that's fun. But I think having your own space is definitely a plus.
Yeah, so I don't really have my personal space. I have my own room, but because I live in an apartment, there is no hallway. Like my parents' room and my room are just in front of each other. So is there really personal space? Not unless I have the door shut, which I do often.
At least you have your own room though.
Yeah, I guess having my own room is a privilege. Another positive thing is that I think I've always been comfortable around adults. Like for me, I had to talk to adults for a really long time, and I had to be in settings with like only like adults, and then the child there, the only kid there is me. So I think I have had less trouble talking to adults like later in life. For example, when in Korea, like the schools I went to, we'd have these one-on-one talks with our teachers, and that was mandatory. And some of my friends would hate it because they thought it was really awkward to talk with a teacher one-on-one, but I never thought it was weird. I think I was really comfortable when talking to teachers, and I would actually like look forward to it. I thought it was fun to talk to adults. So even after that, like even now, talking to like really older people than me, I haven't felt that it was weird.
I feel like that's a good life skill to have, though. I guess it's good to have the social etiquette or the social etiquette experience of talking to adults.
Do you agree that it was easier for you to talk to adults?
I don't think I agree fully. Just because again, I haven't really had to talk to adults that often. Aside from like if I'm in a situation where it's like a family friend event or something. As I've gotten older, I've started to hate, well, that sounds mean, but I don't really like talking to like because like in like brown people, like we call it like everyone like auntie and uncle, like everyone's an auntie or uncle, like your friend's parents, like you would call them that. And I think this is just me though. This is me personally because I always felt a little bit different, but I feel like since I like dyed my hair and stuff, and I don't know, I think everyone just thought not that they told me openly, but I just kind of felt like they might have thought that I was like weird or something.
You're not
Not
like the other girls.
I'm like not like the other girls. Not that they ever said it, and they were always very nice to me. But I feel like in the back of my head, I always thought they probably thought I was weird. And I just felt like embarrassed most of the time, which is why now I avoid going to any event if I have, like, if something comes up, which is pretty rare because obviously now, like, all of us are older, so it doesn't really happen often. But in the case it does come up, I like beg my parents to like not make me go because like I don't want to be there and I hate interacting with like people. Like I just don't like being asked questions basically because you just get a lot of like stupid questions, like, and I don't want to deal with that. But that again is just more of like a personal thing. But outside of that, I don't think I have any issues talking to adults. Like my job, like all of us are a lot like different. Like a lot of them are older. Well, it's kind of like a mix. Like there's older people and there's younger people and there's the same age. So there's no issue there. I think I'm good at like keeping conversation and stuff with them. So I don't think it's an issue. But yeah, that was a long, rambly way of me saying that. I don't think I'm necessarily bad at talking to adults, but yeah. So moving on to our next experience as an only child. I feel like I grew up talking to myself a lot, like a lot. And I still do it now, and it's really bad. I don't care though, because like I really don't care. Because even if like I'm in the grocery store, I'm obviously not doing it like super loud to the point where people will hear me, but I will like talk like I'll will talk to myself like occasionally if I see something and I'm like, "Oh, like I want that." Like I'll say that out loud. Not too loud, but sometimes that will happen or I don't know. I do talk to myself a lot, but growing up I did that a lot obviously because no siblings means you have to sort of be very imaginative and I also wasn't like like my parents and I like didn't have like conversations that were really of depth. Like it was very surface level conversations. So really I had to entertain myself. So there was a lot of talking to myself that happened and that still is a thing I do to this day. So I guess that's something that's both fun, kind of sad, but mostly just I don't know if it's weird because a lot of people do it. I think it's just more like funny, if anything. But yeah, that's my only child canon experience, if you will.
Yeah, I agree. Like even before I had a smartphone, I would know how to just keep myself entertained. I would like talk to myself or like play with dolls when I was little, and then I would make up like all of these universes with them.
You were like world building. You were world building in your free time.
You
That's
know,
fun.
Sylvanian families. I think in English it's called calico critters.
Yeah, I think some of them are yeah, the Slovenian families.
Yeah, like I used to have a lot of them, and like I would have whole stories with them. Like who was dating who was cheating.
Oh, you were playing house, but with your little dolls.
Yeah, I was playing house, and I was never bored. Which I think is good. Like, or I'll read a book. Like, I knew how to keep time going.
Hmm. I definitely agree. I think I just saw that you mentioned this as well in your thing. I just realized. But I feel like I'm also very good at doing things alone. Like I love traveling alone. I do a lot of things alone. And I think that's a really good skill to have, especially now when you enter your 20s, because people have a lot less time and people are very preoccupied with their lives, which is okay. That just kind of naturally happens. You kind of have to learn how to deal with a lot yourself inevitably. And I feel like I've always had that skill since I was like little. So that's great. I really love doing things myself. I love getting food. My like simple joy in life, like my true joy in life, like the only time my brain is ever truly blank, like no thoughts up here, is when I'm in my car, I'm parked in my car and I have food. Like I've picked something up from I don't know where, like anywhere, like and I'm just sitting in my car eating and either listening to music or watching something. Like that is like the purest joy of my life. The one time my brain is truly blank. And that's really fun. Like little things like that. Like I find like comfort in doing stuff like that alone. So I don't really see it as about, oh, and going to concerts. A lot of the concerts I go to alone because my friends aren't really big concert goers, especially for like K-pop concerts. Aside from my friends that are like out of state. But a lot of my friends that like K-pop are out of state, so I only ever get to go to concerts with people when I'm like in LA or something like that. But other than that, like a lot of the concerts I go to alone and I have a lot of fun. So yeah, I think it's a good life skill to have.
Yes, we're very independent. I agree. I like going to cute cafes alone, go to the movies alone. I actually don't like going to watch movies with other people, I think.
That's valid. I don't really go to the movies that often, to be honest, because a ticket's like $20. But if I do, I think it is fun. I think going to a movie is fun to go alone as well.
And like I'll just go to popular places alone. I'll also travel alone. In a way, we're very independent people and we didn't have to learn it because we were just
We're
brought up
born
that
into
way.
it. Yeah. We're just born with our a survival skill, which is being alone. And I think it's quite fun. I like
It
it.
is fun. I like it too. I like traveling alone. Like I don't think now I can travel abroad with other people.
But yeah, I feel like especially being in a city, it's really fun to be in a city alone because there's a lot of things for you to do. Like and especially in like a place like Seoul or like Japan, like public transport makes it so easy to just like go everywhere. So yeah, very fun.
Should we move on to the negative stuff? Not
Okay.
necessarily bad, but like not the best part about being an only child.
So I'll go first. We can just go back and forth again. So for me, I feel like the negative about that, as we just mentioned before, like we learn to be really independent. I also think well, it's kind of manifested to be a little bit of a bad thing because I feel like sometimes I'm too independent in the sense that I feel like, especially as I've gotten older, I think I've struggled with friendships a little bit. Not completely, because the thing about me is a lot of the friends I've had, I've known for like forever. Like I've known since like either elementary school or I've just known for years and years. So I feel like being super independent makes it kind of harder to lean on people, I feel like. And even if like I've known my friends for a really long time, like the friends I have I've known for forever, like for years and years and years, I still find it hard to like fully either one open up or two be vulnerable, like it still will feel weird. So that's something I've struggled with, and I see that as a negative thing because it's not good. Because sometimes you just end up putting up walls, and that's not always good. Sometimes that will just make you miserable, really. So I think that's a negative. We're trying to work through it, and eventually maybe it'll be sorted out. But yeah, I think there's like an uncomfortableness with opening up because you're just so used to being independent and kind of dealing with things alone.
I've never thought of it that way, but now that you mention it, I totally agree. I have never like truly, I mean, I do open up now to some friends, but I think it took me a while to get myself to open up to friends. And even now, like, I'll tell people a lot about myself, but never really important stuff.
Yeah, my friends, I feel like I had
A
someone tell
lot
me.
of surface level stuff about me.
I don't remember who told me this, but someone was like, "You say all this, you talk about all this random stuff to not talk about the other things that are bothering you." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." Like I feel like, yeah, I agree. I think that's what it is. I just talk about a lot of surface level stuff to avoid talking about whatever else there's going on.
Yeah, and like you, I never really tell my friends if I'm going through something. Wait, did I?
I feel like we all knew what was going on. I'm kidding. I'm also like that too. Like my Instagram story, girl, I just be yapping on there to people. But that's my strategic way of not burdening any
Yeah.
person with stuff because now everyone knows, and that's great. I'm not burdening one single person with all my issues. Now my entire close friend story knows, and that's like me evening out the distribution of information. So in the end, I'm like doing people a favor. That's
But I feel like still the stuff I do tell people isn't stuff that's really would drive me crazy. No, I'm lying about this.
what are you trying? Wait. Be honest.
Um, but like mental crises that I go through sometimes, I'll never tell people about it. Like deep existential thoughts.
It's
I
okay.
will rarely tell people that I'm going through this existential thought, blah blah blah. I'll just
Yeah.
go through it myself, and then like months later, I'll tell my friend, well, a couple of months ago, I've had this thought, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, a couple of months ago, I wanted to die, by the way, but I'm just gonna tell you now, it's okay. No,
Exactly.
but like I I think yeah, even for me, like I had this really big issue where I would wait until something like I really couldn't take it anymore to tell people, which is not a good thing because then you just kind of let things like fester and you're like in your brain and that's not good. Like I once was describing it to a friend, like it would have to feel like there was like a weight on my chest. Like it would feel like there were like rocks on my chest. Like that's how bad it was getting. Like in terms of like have like what's the like that's a metaphor. Like it would just feel so heavy, like whatever I was feeling. That's the only time I would open up is in when it felt like that, which is not good because then you're just like you're waiting till you're about to like implode, which is not a good thing. Don't do that. Which but that's easier said than done. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I used to do that too. I would like wait until the breaking point.
Not a good thing. Don't do that.
So to talk about my narrative experience, like it's more of a future worry I have is that when my parents die, I am really going to be alone in the world.
I think about that all the time.
Yeah, and then like when I was little, I really did not want to get married at all. But that was like until middle school me, but now I'm like maybe I should.
No, I see what you're saying though. I see what you're saying.
Like I'll be totally alone and there's gonna be no one on my side, like without any like because parents are your parents. They don't really expect anything from you and then they're your people.
Yeah. It's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like this is like kind of sort of going into off topic, but not really. When you kind of have that like sort of sense of feeling that inevitably, like once your parents die, like you, if you don't like have like either like a partner or whatever it may be, like you are really like there's no one by your side, like you just said, and that's really scary. Which is even for me, like something I think about because now we're like kind of, ew, I hate saying this, but like we're kind of nearing mid. Well, I just turned 23, so it gets a little bit scary because I don't
Old.
know. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little, and you kind of start to think about like what is your future gonna look like, and honestly, I don't know about marriage. I don't know about all that stuff, blah blah blah, whatever. Like that's something that's never really been a focus of my life ever, like ever in my life. Like I don't really see that as like some people obviously like that's like their not life goal, but people have like different priorities, and for some people like dating or like marriage is like higher in their priority list, which is fine, not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying for me, like that's never been on like even like it's never been on the priority list. It's always like that's like the thing I'm least thinking about. But as we get older, I think that kind of starts to cross my mind more when I'm thinking about like what is gonna happen when my parents die and I because all my family lives in India and like I'm not close with them at all. Like I don't know them that well. I see them what every like 8 years or something. So even then, like I'm just not really close with them. I don't know. It's just scary to think about. So I agree.
I mean, my family is in Korea, but cousins are still cousins. But thankfully, a lot of my cousins are only children too.
So you guys are all just gonna have this shared experience of grief one by
Yeah,
one.
so it's all coming for us. But I mean, but again, I don't really want to keep living in Korea, so would this be a huge thing that will affect my life? I'm not sure. Like, if I'm not with them anyway, what's the point?
No, I get no, but as like grim as that sounds, I get it. Sometimes I think about that. I'm like, well, I can't say I've like this is gonna sound bad in a way, but I don't think I've ever been super attached to my parents because there's never been more than like a surface level sort of connection in my whole life. Obviously, I would be like, obviously, they're still my parents and I love them and blah, 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 blah. But I'm also not like, we're not like attached to the hip. Like, I'm not like, I don't, my emotional, like, I don't emotionally connect to them in that way. So it's kind of hard to say how that will feel in the future when it inevitably happens. Like, I don't know what I'm going to feel. Obviously, I'm going to feel very sad and devastated and all that stuff. But like, I don't know. Like you said, like, how is that going to affect us? I don't know. We can't really know. But it's
Yeah, it
interesting
is
that you brought that
scary,
up.
but I don't know if I mean, I am attached to my parents, but am I really? I'm not sure. I mean, I guess I'll have to find out when they die.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I won't know. I won't know exactly how I'm going to feel until it happens, which is scary because then that means there's a lot of unknown. But anyways, that's like just getting into very grim stuff. But yeah, I agree.
Do you have another negative thing?
Since I was an only child and I had to navigate a lot of stuff by myself, I almost felt like I also really struggled with like developing a sense of self. Because I feel like when people have siblings, like there's a lot of stuff you kind of go through with your siblings and like you're able to grow together, you're able to experience things with other people. But when you're an only child, a lot of those like canon experience like or like stages in life you're going through, you go through alone. So I feel like for me, like that led to me kind of struggling with persona or like a sense of self. Like especially when I was little, I loved mimicking people that I was obsessed with. Like this is a fun fact, but when I was in, it's really embarrassing. When I was, I think, in like fifth grade, I was obsessed with Kat Valentine, Ariana Grande's character in Victorious. Obsessed with her. I don't know why. I was obsessed with her, and I wanted to be her so bad. So I would like mimic my voice to sound like her. Like I was obsessed with her. There are videos of me on my iPad, on like my old like first generation iPad, of me audibly trying to sound like her. Like, because me and my friends, we would record like stupid little videos on my iPad, and I could like hear, like, I'd like try laughing. Like, it was so bizarre. But like, I guess that was like my first sort of diving in. That was like my first like taste of like existential crisis in a way because like I just didn't know who I wanted to be. So that was something I just really wanted to be Cat Valentine. That was weird. I feel like, but that's been like a thing my entire life. Like I've always feel like I've just looked towards people I liked in media because obviously I didn't have siblings or anyone or like my parents, like my mom. It's not like I could like talk to my mom about this stuff because that wasn't really like a concept. So it was just me trying to figure out what the F was going on as I was getting older and I had no idea how to navigate it. So I turned to people in the media and I don't know. It's still something I feel like I kind of obviously I still don't know what is going on and I don't really have much of a sense of self now either, but yeah, that's just a fun little story, but I feel like yeah, I feel like being an only child makes it harder for me to which is kind of ironic in the way because you think being an only child means you have more of a sense of self because you're independent. But I feel like for me, it's also like the opposite as well. It's like both. It's very bizarre and weird. But yeah, that's what I think.
I never went through a cat development mimic phase personally,
But
but
like I'm not saying like I just mean in general. Like I feel like I just look to people in the media or just look to people that I really admired and I wanted to be them so bad. But that was just because I didn't really know who I was. Like it's not just Cat Valentine. That's just one specific thing I remember. But yeah,
I mean, I've never really been through that
I think that's
cat
just a me thing though.
or whoever, but I definitely agree with you that it would like certain parts of growing up would have been easier if I had siblings. Like if someone went through this like before me or maybe after me, like maybe certain experiences would have been more validating. Like it wasn't weird, like I wasn't going crazy, my parents were being weird.
Yes, I talk about this in
Yeah,
therapy all the time. I've talked about this so many times with my therapist. I'm like, it is so frustrating to have something happen, especially because there's a lot. It's very complicated to explain. That goes into a whole other topic, but there are some things that have happened, like if there's an argument or whatever there may be, or something bad's going on or whatever it is, and it's so frustrating because nobody else is here to like see it or hear it.
So then I'm just going crazy because one, I'm being gaslit, and two, it just feels like I'm constantly being gaslit when like stuff like that happens because I'm like, nobody's here to see it. I'm the only one hearing it. And like it's just so annoying because it's like, wow, like no one else is here to validate that that happened. And now I just feel like I'm going crazy. And yeah, that's not fun. I agree.
Yeah, and you can't really talk about family stuff with your friends all the time because it's your family stuff. Like once you say you have like problems with your parents, like certain things definitely you can say, but like
Yeah, I agree. It
I
gets
feel
to the
like
point where I just feel
yeah,
like if I'm like for example, like if I'm like talking about my mom to somebody, I can only talk about my mom or something she said so many times until I start feeling like I'm being annoying. But I feel like it's just frustrating because like no one else is there to hear it or experience it. And like, yeah, it's just so annoying. I just feel like I'm constantly being gaslit. So yeah,
I
don't
wouldn't
recommend.
say it's split all the time, but I agree. Definitely there were certain times I wish I had a sibling in that way. And for me, another is kind of a negative experience is that I'm a very nostalgic person. So I think about things that have happened to me in the past a lot, but I don't have someone again to like validate what happened with my parents. Like I saw an interview with Daisy Edgar Jones, and she's also an only child. Yay. And she's also says she's a very nostalgic person and she doesn't have someone to talk to with like saying, "Oh, like remember when mom used to do this, dad used to do that." Blah blah blah. Like those are like we can't do that because we don't have siblings.
That's kind of sad way to put it.
Yeah. Like we don't have anyone to share out our childhood memories with.
That is a really sad way to put that. I don't like that at all. That's really depressing. Why would you say that? Oh my
But
God,
it's
you're right.
true.
I
Like,
never thought about that. Oh,
sometimes you think about things that have happened to you and you don't know if they're real or not because maybe you thought about the situation too many times since when you were little and you don't, I mean, you can talk about with your parents, but your parents aren't going to remember everything, and we
that
don't
and
have anyone else
they're
to
not
tell us if it was real or not.
that and they're also not always going to be here. So who else is going to be able to relive? That's really sad. I don't like that. Who else is going to be able to relive your childhood? Oh my God. Yeah, I don't like that. Now that you
Did
mention
I
it, I
give
don't.
you a new?
A little bit. I think I'm not. I don't know. I'm just gonna avoid thinking about that because wow, that's a point that I did not need to be aware of.
Okay, so do we like being an only child?
Do I like being an only child? I feel like it's. I would say I like 80% like being an only child, which is like almost 100. Um, I think I've overall most of it is besides like the mental stuff and like blah 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 all that. Putting that aside, I think overall it's a good experience. Like I don't really have anything to complain about, especially when it comes to like my way of living and the way I'm able to function like day to day. Yeah, I would say I like it. Overall, putting all that other stuff aside. How about you?
I agree. I never wanted any siblings growing up. Like I was never really jealous of friends who had siblings. I always liked being alone. But connecting to the stuff we were just talking about, like now maybe I do want a sibling, but it's too late.
That's true. It is too late. I know what you
And
mean though. Yeah.
thinking about stuff that's going to happen to us inevitably, maybe I want a sibling. But even when I was little, like hypothetically, if I had a sibling, I wanted an older sibling, not a younger one.
I agree. Yeah.
So it's going to be impossible anyway.
No, I agree. I think now that we're at like this stage of our life, it's more something you have to think about because it's like you're gonna be going through a lot from now. Because like from now onwards, there's gonna be a lot of stuff that's gonna be happening, and it's gonna be frustrating to have to deal with that all by yourself essentially because you're going to have your friends and you can only hope that maybe by then you'll have a good sense of community, but that's not really guaranteed. Like that's what's kind of scary is that's not guaranteed. You can just kind of hope that by then you have it, but your friends are always like, you have your friends and they'll help you out or blah blah blah, blah. But it's still going to be scary to think about because inevitably that is what we're going to have to face. But I do think,
Yeah, and
yeah, I think
even
maybe, yeah, maybe now more so I would be kind of helpful now going forward, it'd be kind of helpful to have a sibling to be able to navigate all of that. When I was younger, I think maybe there were times when I kind of, oh my God, you know what? You know when I want siblings? When I go on family trips, because family trips, they are so annoying. I'm like, by the end of a family trip, we're all miserable because it's only the three of us. It's me and my parents, and like we end up driving each other crazy. Like there's no, oh my God, yeah, that's the only time I'd want a sibling is if I'm on a family trip because I cannot deal with that all myself. Like I wish I had a sibling to deal with the craziness that happens with my parents. Like, oh my God, that's the one time I wish I had a sibling. That's a little
Yeah,
bit.
and now I don't really want to go on trips with my parents.
Exactly. Like, oh my God,
Unless it's
every
like
single trip.
for 2 days. So like we'll spend a night at a hotel. If it's not that, I don't want to go. Even that,
Every,
by the time I'm home, I'm so over it. And my parents now make me plan the whole thing.
yeah, exactly. Me too. It's just so stressful. And then like dealing with all of it and not like I think every single family trip I've been on, we've got into a huge fight by the end of it, like a huge fight. And it's just so annoying and miserable. And I hate saying that because it's such a privilege to be able to go on these trips and all that stuff. And I'm grateful, blah, 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 blah. But it's just by the end of it, I am just so miserable and it's just so horrible. And yeah, every single trip has ended very badly, I would say. But yeah, that's a sidetrack, but that is the only other time I wish I had a sibling was in those situations because it is so stressful. Oh my God.
I haven't necessarily been in big fights, but still, we're all miserable by the end of a trip. We're all tired. Yes, but I agree. Family trips, maybe someone I had, like someone I could do the planning with, a
Yeah.
sibling.
Or just be
Yes.
able to talk to them and be like, that thing they did was
Mom
so
and dad are
annoying.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, like
that
or
would
like
be
that. They're
nice.
just being just to tell someone be like they're being so annoying. Like they like I it would just be so it would make things so much better. But unfortunately, yeah, that's the one time I feel like it'd be very, very useful.
But unfortunately, the only thing we have when we are on family trips are Instagram's
Is my
spam account of
Instagram
close friends.
is my Instagram it's me and my Instagram close friend story till I die. I love the people on there. So now we're gonna go into the big thing is as much as we were talking about like the positives and how we think only children can be very mis or perceived in a bad way, and there's a lot of misconceptions. We're gonna talk about maybe the times we might have slightly lived up to the misconceptions a little bit, just a little bit. It doesn't make us bad people, but everyone has like their flaws. So to go into that a little bit, I feel like for me, it has been a big issue, and it's kind of like, and then more generally, I feel like I've catch myself doing that, being a little bit too dependent on my friends or feeling like I like feeling that I expect too much from them just because obviously growing up like we don't have siblings and we don't have people to really lean on. So sometimes I do catch myself expecting a lot from my friends, which is just not realistic. And I have to catch myself and be like, I'm just being unrealistic right now, and that's okay. Sometimes like you just get a little bit too attached and you kind of have to catch yourself and be like, these are your friends and they're not going to be there for you all the time and that's not their responsibility. So I think that's like the one thing I have been trying to work on. And yeah, that's like the one way I kind of have lived up to the misconception in the way that sometimes I'm a little bit too attached. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've definitely become a bit too attached to some of my close friends, but over the years, but I think now I'm much better at it. But I have definitely gone through phases like, oh, like I thought you were my close friend. Why do you have another close friend? I
No,
never
me
said that
too.
aloud, but like I would feel it.
No, yeah,
I'm
me
like,
too. But it's so bizarre because it's kind of like jealousy, but it doesn't make any sense because it's like, why am I feeling this? Like, this is so unnecessary and weird. Like, why am I feeling bad about that? Like, it's just so weird to have to navigate, I think. But I agree.
I thought of a much lighter topic, and it's when I go to restaurants with people who I'm not super close with emotionally, and people will say, like, let's share everything, like, let's order a lot of menus and let's share. And sometimes I'll think, like, I don't want to. I'll
Mm,
never say that aloud. Maybe it's like the trouble with sharing sometimes. And then when people ask me, like, can I have a sip of your drink? Sometimes I'm like, sure. And then they'll just sip on the same straw.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't really mind, but as long as it's someone like I know, that I'm close with. If it's like some like yeah, if it's like someone I just met, then maybe not.
yeah, like how do I know this person and I are the same straw close?
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense.
And then another thing, I don't know necessarily if this is living up to the misconception, but because I don't want to be the stereotype greedy only child, I have definitely started to overcorrect myself at one point and I'll overshare stuff, as in physical stuff, not telling people too much. Like I'll be like, "Oh, do you need this? Do you want this?" Like I'll
Oh,
offer stuff to people around me, even if I don't want to actually, just to prove I'm not like greedy.
no, I think subconsciously I also do that. Not that I like have that intent going into it, but I think maybe you're right, subconsciously, because I'm a big gift giver. But also it's kind of like it's kind of a sad in a way because I don't know if I'm just a big gift giver because I want people's approval and I want them to think I'm worthy type thing. So that might be what it is, honestly. Like I genuinely think that's part of it, is that. But now that you mention it, yeah, I think that's yeah,
Yeah, so maybe I'm trying not to be the,
like we're overcompensating a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
When I was little, I used to hate it when people touched my stuff or borrowed my stuff without asking me. I mean, I still do, but like I used to really, really, really dislike it.
Oh, really? Like your toys and stuff?
Not toys, like for example, like stationery at school.
Oh,
Yeah, so I used to have a hard time with that.
I think also another time, maybe I'll end, I guess I can end with this. I guess my last sort of misconception would be sometimes, emphasis on sometimes, I can be a little bit bratty towards my parents, not in like a mean, evil way, but sometimes they just because when you're an only child and there's no siblings, again, all the attention is on you, and sometimes it's just a little bit overstimulating, especially when your parents have like a whole entire different dynamic and there's just a lot of different factors. Sometimes, especially pre getting medicated, I would get very, very annoyed and just kind of a little bit bratty when there would be things that were happening. So I feel like that's me
What do
living
you
to
mean
my
by bratty? Do you mean yelling at them? Isn't
no,
that
no, no,
normal?
not yelling. I don't yell. No, 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 not yelling, but just sometimes I would just snap at them like I don't know. Not like in like a mean like yelling way, but I just feel like sometimes I'd be like a little bit just like snappy and like emotional and whatnot. So like that's kind of me living up. But it wasn't like I don't know. Yeah, that's me kind of living up to the misconception. I wasn't yelling, or I wasn't being mean. I just feel like sometimes maybe I was a little bit snappy, especially in situations when it's just the three of us together for extended periods of time, which would
I guess
be
I'm like that too. I'm like that pretty often.
me too. I'm just trying to be a little bit lenient with myself. I think I'm like that pretty often too. I was just trying to sound like a good person. I feel like I'm like that a lot.
It's fine. I
Okay,
mean, they
they're okay.
chose to have one kid.
Yeah, they're gonna have to deal with the consequences. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
We're nice. We promise we're nice to them. We love them. They're our parents. But sometimes it's like I mean, but that's inevitable. You're living in the same house. Obviously, it's gonna be a little bit like sometimes you're just overstimulated, or sometimes, it happens, especially when you're all living in the same house. So it's okay.
Yes, they annoy you all the time. And I'm not snapping at them every single time they annoy me.
Yeah, I'm just choosing. And I'll also, yeah, it's okay. We're not horrible people, we promise.
Yes, but are we? But maybe we are.
Maybe we are, because at the end of the day, who really knows?
Yes.
Who knows?